we go home. And it's hard because
Cincinnati, along the Ohio River, speaks honestly to us when the evening light fades. Not everyone has a place to return to. I'm telling you this as if we're sitting across from each other, quietly but truthfully. Recent data shows that in 2024, around 6,489 people in Hamilton County experienced homelessness. More than 22% of them were children. And at least 232 families were reported sleeping outdoors, in parking lots, under bridges, along the riverbanks, where the wind cuts through thin layers of tarp. At the same time, Cincinnati Public Schools reported that during the 2023-2024 school year, roughly 4,304 students lacked stable housing. In other words, they still showed up to class each morning, but by night, they didn't know where they'd sleep.
Would be a good outcome for you?
Just get an apartment, get off the streets. But I'm getting ready to turn 60, so well, I've been out here for 10 years, so I don't see it happening anytime soon. Probably just die out here, I don't know.
You see, this isn't just about lacking a roof or a mattress. It's about safety, about dignity. So what pushed this middle-class city into such a fragile balance? Wages that can't keep up with rent, or the sudden loss of pandemic-era safety nets? Still, here's a thought that might stir debate. Maybe the crisis isn't simply about scarcity, but about our quiet acceptance, the way we've allowed housing to become a privilege when it should be a foundation of a decent life. In the end, will we treat sleeping outside as the new normal, or as a sign that our community still has unfinished work to do? And tell me, do you believe a city is truly strong if not everyone has a door they can close behind them at night?
It's kind of rough at times, you know. A lot of people just walk by you, doesn't really look at you or pay no attention to you, you know. Every now and then you get somebody that does, you know.
Cincinnati doesn't need glossy slogans right now. It needs straight talk. The skyline gleams across the Ohio River, yet a growing number of people sleep under those same bridges. That's the paradox we keep circling back to. You can win awards for redevelopment and still lose neighbors. Over the Rhine and the West End look sharper than they have in decades. Coffee shops hum, condos fill up, sidewalks feel alive. And yet Hamilton County counted roughly 6,489 people experiencing homelessness in 2024, up about 7.5% in just 2 years. And more folks are going unsheltered. When a city beautifies the front porch but leaves families in the rain, what exactly are we celebrating? Here's where the numbers cut deep. About 22% of people in the local homeless system are kids and students. The Cincinnati Public Schools and Cincinnati University reported roughly 4,304 students without stable housing in 2023-2024, nearly double a decade ago. You and I both know what that means in real life. Homework done by dome light, showers squeezed in at a relative's place, a backpack doubling as a dresser. Meanwhile, single adults sleeping outdoors have roughly doubled in 2 years. The count even found around 232 families unsheltered in 2024. parents trying to keep babies warm through an Ohio winter. We can argue policy all day, but that picture is plain. Cincinnati's homelessness crisis isn't about bad choices, it's about capacity. The Central Access Point helpline screened over 4,700 households last year, but could fully help only a third. The diversion program works. Most who get help don't return to homelessness, yet there's not enough funding. Pandemic supports disappeared while rents soared and wages lagged, leaving working families sleeping in cars near Westwood or lining up for beds in Queensgate. The city is responding with a proposed $5.5 million-day center in Queensgate, offering restrooms, warmth, and caseworker access, humane, but hardly enough to fix a housing market that locks out those who built it. Cincinnati's 40-point homeownership gap between white and black families tells the deeper story. Lost equity, lost inheritance, and revitalization that often means displacement. Behind the numbers are faces of father and daughter sleeping in their car, a grandmother helping homeless students, a contractor whose injury cost him his home. The outreach workers know them all by name. Cincinnati looks strong on paper, but that strength leaves thousands behind. Real success won't come from cranes and ribbon cuttings, but from keeping children out of minivans, funding rent relief, preventing evictions, and building deeply affordable homes. The system isn't broken, it works for those it was built for. Heart matters, but heart must act, legislate, and build. The real question is, when the numbers rise again, will we call it complicated or unacceptable? So why does a city like Cincinnati, rich in history, full of potential, still struggle so deeply with homelessness? The truth is, there isn't one simple reason. It's a web of long-standing problems that have been building for decades. If we break it down, three forces stand out: the housing shortage, the mental health and addiction crisis, and the relentless grind of low wages. Each one adds pressure, and together they form a storm that's hard to escape. Let's start with housing, the biggest piece of the puzzle. Cincinnati simply doesn't have enough affordable places to live. Walk through Avondale or Price Hill and you'll see it firsthand. Rents climbing faster than paychecks, families squeezed out of homes they've lived in for years. The numbers tell the story. A 40% homeownership gap between black and white residents, one of the widest divides in the nation. That didn't happen by chance. It's the legacy of redlining and discriminatory lending, when banks literally drew lines on maps labeling black neighborhoods as too risky for investment. Those lines may be gone, but their impact lingers in who gets to build wealth, who rents, and who ends up without a roof at all. For renters, the situation's just as bleak. Median rents have pushed past $1,000 a month in some areas, while older, affordable apartments are torn down or converted into high-end condos. Families crowd together under one roof or bounce between relatives' couches, living one missed paycheck away from homelessness. It's a slow squeeze, the kind that doesn't make headlines, but breaks people all the same. And unless Cincinnati finds a way to build more low-cost housing, that grip is only going to tighten. Then there's the twin crisis of mental health and substance abuse, a double-edged sword cutting deep into the city's core. Imagine someone living with untreated bipolar disorder or PTSD, no health insurance, no steady access to medication or therapy. Now add addiction to the mix, maybe a heroin habit, maybe alcohol, something that began as a way to numb the pain. There are too many people in Cincinnati living this story. The city's safety net is frayed. Clinics are underfunded, waiting lists stretch on for weeks or months, and stigma still keeps many from seeking help. Without consistent care, mental illness can unravel a life, jobs disappear, rent goes unpaid, families drift apart, and before long, that person ends up on a park bench with nowhere else to go. Addiction follows the same brutal pattern. Ohio remains ground zero for America's opioid epidemic, and Cincinnati has carried a heavy share of that burden. A dose of fentanyl on the street might cost $10, but a stay in rehab? That's thousands, if you can even find a bed. The city has lost lives, families, and neighborhoods to this crisis. Without more accessible treatment centers, detox programs, and community-based support, the cycle keeps repeating. It's not about individual weakness. It's about a system that keeps failing those who need it most. And finally, we have to talk about wages and work, or rather, the lack of work that pays enough to live. On paper, Cincinnati's economy looks strong. Procter & Gamble calls it home. The arts scene is thriving, and the Cincinnati suburbs riverfront gleams with new development. But underneath that progress, too many people are left behind. The state's minimum wage sits at $10.45 an hour, roughly $21,000 a year, if you're lucky enough to get full-time hours, which many aren't. For a single mom, in retail or food service, that's a losing equation. $1,500 a month in income, $900 for rent, $500 for childcare, and that's before groceries or a car repair. The math just doesn't work. The gig economy offers little relief. Driving for Uber or DoorDash can fill the gaps, but the pay is unpredictable, and the wear on a car often cancels out the earnings. Meanwhile, wages have barely moved in years, while the cost of living keeps climbing. Cincinnati used to be a manufacturing powerhouse, a place where hard work could buy stability. But those jobs are mostly gone, and what's replaced them rarely offers security or benefits. These aren't people unwilling to work. They're people trapped in an economy where the rules no longer make sense. These roots, housing, health, and jobs, don't exist in isolation. They feed one another, creating a cycle that's hard to break. Lose your apartment because rent jumped beyond reach, and the stress might drive you to drink or use. That addiction costs you your job, and with no paycheck, your mental health begins to collapse. Before long, one problem becomes three, and the path back feels nearly impossible. It's a domino effect, and Cincinnati sees the impact of it every single day, in shelters, in hospitals, on sidewalks downtown. Solving this crisis means addressing all of it, not just one piece at a time. You can't fix housing without fixing wages, and you can't treat addiction without offering mental health care and stability. It's a heavy load to carry, yes, but recognizing how these struggles connect is the first real step toward easing the weight. Cincinnati isn't standing still or turning a blind eye to these challenges. There's movement happening, people in the streets, offices, and church basements, all working toward one goal, giving everyone a fair shot at a safe, stable life. The city's far from perfect, but there's grit here and a quiet determination that refuses to quit. This is where the story shifts, from despair to action, from struggle to hope. A major focus is closing the deep homeownership gap, especially for Black families. That 40% divide isn't just a number. It's a wall built over generations. The city's trying to change that with loan assistance, grants for first-time buyers, and fair lending reforms. Imagine a couple in Avondale signing papers for their first home because a city program cut their down payment in half. Progress is slow, but each new homeowner is a crack in that old barrier, proof that change, even small, still matters. During our documentary, we met families at housing workshops, faces lit with cautious hope. They weren't just chasing a roof, but belonging, dignity, and a sense of stability in the city they love. Behind every form signed or key handed over is a quiet dream. To stay, to rebuild, to believe again in their hometown. Veterans are finally getting long overdue support. The Cincinnati VA and local nonprofits are pooling resources, handing out coats, hygiene kits, and vouchers for real beds. Picture a vet under I-75 waking to a volunteer saying, "You're not forgotten." Groups like the Joseph House go further, offering therapy for PTSD, addiction treatment, and a path back to stability. We joined an outreach team visiting tent camps with quiet compassion. No judgment, just presence. They called people by name, offered what they could, and listened. Beyond that, shelters, soup kitchens, and mobile crews keep the system alive. Places like Shelter House on Reading Road serve hot meals while connecting people to jobs, counseling, or housing programs. Volunteers ladle soup while caseworkers sketch out fragile but hopeful plans for lives knocked off course. It's messy and underfunded, but full of heart. Everyone we met, workers, volunteers, and residents alike, said the same thing. We're trying. And in a city wrestling with problems this deep, that steady, stubborn effort may be the strongest proof that hope still has a home here. So, where does Cincinnati go from here? Real change won't come from quick fixes, but from steady, practical steps rooted in compassion and courage. First comes affordable housing. Imagine vacant lots turning into rows of modest homes, not luxury condos, but real places where families can belong. The city could offer tax breaks to developers who build low-cost units. That's not charity, it's smart policy. When rent stops eating entire paychecks, families can finally breathe. Next, support services need rebuilding. Mental health clinics and recovery centers should be easy to reach, judgment-free, and properly funded. Picture someone battling addiction walking into a local center and finding a bed, a counselor, and a plan, not just a flyer. And with solid job training, from plumbing to coding, people can turn skill into stability. That's not a handout, it's a new start. Lastly, property tax relief could keep low-income homeowners from losing their homes. A simple cut could mean an elderly couple in Westwood gets to stay in the house they built their life around. These aren't distant dreams. Other cities have done it, and Cincinnati can too. Imagine driving through town a decade from now. Fewer tents, more thriving streets. All it takes is will, unity, and the belief that this city can be more than its struggles. Homelessness may be the most visible wound on Cincinnati streets, but it's far from the only one. Beneath the surface lies a deeper web of social struggles, hunger, healthcare, education, each one quietly shaping daily life for thousands. For anyone trying to understand homeless in Cincinnati, Ohio, it becomes clear that these problems are not isolated. They form a single story of survival. Take food insecurity. More than 270,000 families in the city wrestle with it every year. That's not just numbers. It's kids staring into empty lunchboxes, parents stretching a loaf of bread another day, the quiet weariness of hunger that never lets up. Much of it comes down to access. Entire sections of the city are food deserts, places where full-service grocery stores simply don't exist. Instead, residents rely on corner shops selling overpriced snacks and canned goods. Imagine living miles from the nearest fresh apple. It's not just inconvenient, it's dehumanizing. And when federal SNAP benefits get cut, the safety net frays even more. Families fall through the gaps, and frustration turns to despair. While filming this travel documentary on homeless in Cincinnati, we met parents doing everything right, working, budgeting, yet still unable to feed their kids healthy meals. Their struggle mirrors the broader reality of being homeless in America, where doing your best isn't always enough to stay afloat. Thankfully, there's hope in motion. Organizations like Churches Active in Northside, Kane, are filling the gap, serving hot meals, stocking food pantries, and restoring a bit of dignity. There's also talk of bigger fixes, incentives to draw grocery chains into underserved areas, giving neighborhoods the same access others take for granted. Picture a new supermarket opening on a long empty block, fresh produce, affordable prices, and a sense that the community still matters. But hunger is only one piece of the puzzle. Healthcare remains out of reach for many, with clinics too far, co-pays too steep, and coverage too fragile. People live with untreated illnesses, waiting for a system that moves too slowly. Education tells the same story: well-funded schools in wealthy areas, and under-resourced ones elsewhere, leaving kids trapped in a cycle they didn't choose. And of course, affordable housing still looms over it all, the root that keeps every other issue tangled. So, here's a question. If you could fix just one, food, health, education, or housing, where would you start? Because in Cincinnati, these struggles don't stand alone. They're threads in the same fabric, and pulling one might be the key to mending them all. Cincinnati's story isn't just another chapter in the larger struggle of homelessness in the USA. It's a reflection of how one city keeps pushing forward, even when the odds seem stacked against it. The Cincinnati housing market remains tight, the Cincinnati jobs picture still uneven, and yet you can feel hope stirring in unexpected corners of the city. Walk along Cincinnati streets and you'll see the contrast. Tents under bridges, yes, but also volunteers handing out food, neighbors rebuilding trust, and new housing projects breaking ground. This city doesn't give up. It learns, adapts, and keeps reaching for something better. Maybe that's what makes Cincinnati different. The quiet resilience of a community that believes progress isn't just possible, it's personal. The story of this city, like so many across America, is still unfolding. So, what do you think? What part of Cincinnati's journey speaks to you the most? Share your thoughts below, and let's keep this conversation alive, because the next chapter of this story begins with all of us.